Before the video begins, please refrain from putting any leaks of Pokemon Legends ZA into the comments. Thank you very much. So a while back, I made a video where I decided to give you all my hot takes in the beloved franchise of Pokemon, and while some of them are just some minor opinions, I did have one that is probably one of my more controversial ones, and with Legends ZA slowly approaching, I thought it would be a perfect opportunity to address this controversial take. So let me explain to you why I do not like Mega Evolution. Also, please refrain from any toxic comments. I'm not trying to spark any form of hate. With that out of the way, let's turn back to how it all began. So let's start off with the beginning of Mega Evolution. I did not get first-hand experience. You see, there was a brief period where I didn't play any new Pokemon, and that was the whole of Generation 6. When it was announced that it was going to be on the new 3DS, I wanted one, but my dad refused, saying, "You already have a DS, why do you need a 3DS? I told him that they were stopping production for DS games, but he wouldn't listen. It wasn't until Sun and Moon was when I did get my 3DS, which I still have to this day. So while I didn't really get full-hand experience, I did eventually see what it was like at the post-game of Sun and Moon. Anyway, while I didn't get to play Generation 6 during its heyday, I did follow the competitive scene. Pokemon battling was probably my favourite thing about the game, and learning the ropes of the competitive side really interested me. By the time I was playing Gen 7, I decided to get more into it by learning everything I needed, and by that time, I'd started experimenting with all the Mega Pokemon that were available. During the time I was playing Ultra Moon, I also purchased Omega Ruby and X to try out Mega Evolution in there as well. However, because of my knack for learning competitive Pokemon, that was when I really understood the problem. Fast forward through time and we get to the point where I'm playing a lot of battles with friends and people online. Experimenting with each Mega Pokemon both on Ultra Moon and on Showdown, I realized how unbalanced this mechanic was. With the 48 different Mega Pokemon, less than half of them were actually good. Some Megas were just too good, like Kangaskhan, Salamence, and Rayquaza. Ugh. While others just absolutely sucked, like Audino, Pidgeot, and Beedrill. Speaking of which, Beedrill was so close to greatness. But instead of being a glass cannon, it was a paper cannon. So yeah, the balancing of Mega Evolution was bad. While there were some that helped in buffing Pokemon, say like Gyarados, Lopunny, and of course, Mawile. Seriously, this Pokemon was in need of a buff. Others don't even get remotely buffed, like Sceptile, Banette, and Garchomp. You heard me correct, Mega Garchomp sucks because it loses 10 base speed. And as more time passes, I started to see the flaws of this popular mechanic, and it slowly made me not like it anymore. And while I did get a lot of hate over this, it wasn't until the announcement of Sword and Shield was when it got worse. When it was revealed that Mega Evolution wasn't making a return and being replaced with Dynamax, the internet went haywire. Well, more so with Dexit, but they were still mad at that too. Loads of comments were saying how bad the game was because Dynamaxing wasn't cool and flashy like Mega Evolution, but me, I was still interested because this new mechanic was given to everyone rather than a select few. I was more for that kind of idea. This in turn caused a lot of people to get upset with me for siding with this, but they didn't see the full picture. The reason why I preferred it over Mega Evolution was because it can have more versatility and have no limits to who can use it. With Mega Evolution, because of the small amount of options, it becomes very obvious you are using one. This only further proved my point when Scarlet and Violet introduced Terrestrialization, which not only can be utilized by any Pokemon, it also helped buff many Pokemon that were otherwise terrible in battle. Something that Mega Evolution failed to do. So while the concept was interesting and cool at first, the way they implemented it just didn't work right. But there is something that could help it. As I said at the start, Pokemon Legends ZA is slowly making its way to the console, and as it's confirmed that Mega Evolution will be making its return, it does have the possibility of fixing some of these issues. While I cannot be certain, there are possibilities in which Game Freak can make newer Mega Evolutions while also buffing and nerfing some of the older ones. They are capable of making these changes. Some Pokemon have had changes one generation after their release. And while I don't think they will give every Pokemon a Mega Evolution, with the past 2 generations, I hope they can try to polish this mechanic to be less unbalanced. Though I shouldn't get my hopes up too high. They created Fluttermane. and that thing is absolutely broken, no doubt. But since we have very little to go off of with Legends of ZA, I do hope that this new game will make me like Mega Evolution more. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Cheerio, everyone.